Hello, my name is Paul. Welcome to the Co-Creative Intimacy Podcast. This podcast addresses issues of faith, intimacy, and communication. Today, our question of the day is, what language did Jesus speak? What language did Jesus speak?
I think he spoke Hebrew because he was Jewish, I believe. I think.
I'm
Actually,
pre-
actually, he spoke in like an offering of Hebrew, I believe, called Aramaic, which was like now extinct.
I was gonna say Hebrew also, but Aramaic actually makes sense because a lot of the Jewish scripture has Aramaic in it, not the spoken Hebrew.
Yeah, I will say the same thing because I'll be honest that before I thought Jesus spoke as Latin because it kind of makes more like sense, like Latin culture, but I will have to say that he does speak more Hebrew mixture with the Arabic dynamic kind of blended together.
I kept saying to my dad, I think he speaks Hebrew.
Okay, so here's what I heard was Stephanie says Hebrew, Chuck said Hebrew, Sandy said Hebrew, and Rose said Aramaic, and Aaliyah agrees with Rose. So, how many think that Jesus was Jewish?
I do.
Okay, so I see everybody voted for Jewish. Yes, good one. So, well, we all know that Jews, when they pray in what language?
Hebrew.
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 Yeah, but so yes, Rose is correct. So, and so is Aaliyah. Jesus is known to have spoken this ancient language, an ancient dialect of Aramaic, which was known to be spoken at that time. But he probably also spoke Hebrew when he prayed. Now, they were living in this land that was ruled by what governing body? Anybody know?
No, I don't.
The
I'm
Romans.
I'm gonna like call this out like Rome, maybe.
Yes, the Romans. The Romans were in charge, the Roman Empire back then. And they spoke, guess what? What?
Hebrew?
Nope.
Greek.
Latin?
Mm,
Greek. Yes.
Greek?
It's all Greek to me. So the Romans spoke Greek. So back then, people were multilingual, just like Europeans are now, and Americans aren't. Haha. Some Americans are, maybe. But it's
Right.
common to speak multi languages. So we know that Jesus definitely spoke Aramaic, Hebrew, probably Greek. Fun fact, you know how you have a Bible with all of these books in it? So there are some Christians, those who identify as Anglican or Orthodox or Catholic. Have you ever heard that their Bible contains some extra books?
yes.
No, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
What did you know about those books?
I know that those
I
books were erased by the early church fathers as not being 100% accurate, and so they were taken out of the now Protestant Bible.
Yes. Yes. And another word for that is apocryphal. Apocryphal means like it might be true, but we're not sure, so we're not going to put it in the list of official books, although it still has great spiritual value. Now, for those other churches that I mentioned, they don't call them apocryphal. They call them part of the Bible, part of the canon of Scripture. And you know what those seven books have in common? They are all written in the language of Aramaic.
hmm, I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, I had no idea about any of that.
Me neither.
When you say extra books of the Bible, are you referring to like which? I guess which set of scriptures are you referring to?
So So for Christians, they have, and we'll do a future podcast on terminology of Bible. So I'm going to use words that I don't like so much, but I'm going to use them until we explain them in the future. So in the Christian Bible, there's like the Old Testament and the New Testament. And so the same Bible for some of these denominations contains 7 extra books.
Okay.
Oh. So
Pretty cool.
are these 7 types of books, are you referring as a gospel?
They are not in the Gospels. So they're all in Aramaic. And if you want to know, I might as well tell you. They are Tobit, Judith, Wisdom, Ecclesiasticus, Baruch, and 1st and 2nd Maccabees. So we'll do another whole podcast to all that in the future. But let's focus back on the fact that Jesus spoke Aramaic. So in the Gospels, there is one phrase which, as you read it in the English translation, they put it in a different language. And it happens, I'll give you a clue. It's in the Gospels. It's what Jesus said, and it's towards the end. Does anybody know what phrase that is?
No.
Nope.
So, Rose, I'm thinking you're going to be the one I'm thinking you know this. So when Jesus was on the cross, he said something in another language. Everybody heard it.
I know what he said in English, and that is, "It is finished."
He said that also. So if you look in the scriptures, he said, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. Have you ever heard of that one? So that's Aramaic. So he spoke some words of Aramaic. And that's just interesting. Okay, that's it. Thank you for coming to this episode of this podcast. Next time, we're going to look at the question of what does that fish symbol mean in the back of all those cars?